Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today we're going to do the response portion to Ask Dracdoc. I usually do this once a year, give the opportunity for people to go ahead and ask me questions, and I go ahead and answer them in a video so that everyone can see the answer, learn a little bit more about me and whatever questions you may actually have. So without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm actually going to be clicking back and forth between this just because it's a little bit easier. I didn't want to have to go through and write down all the questions, but I'm going through them about 3 sources: my personal inbox messages, the questions that were posted on the video, and messages sent to my email address. So yeah, that covers that. So let's do that, and perfect. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. First question: what are your favorite fragrance notes, and what are your favorite fragrances that contain said notes? Interesting. In general, my favorite fragrances, or note, is bergamot, and I would probably kind of have to throw in as bergamot is probably my favorite note, and cedar. Bergamot and cedar. And my favorite fragrances that kind of... It's funny. My favorite fragrances don't necessarily have to have those 2 notes, but I really like bergamot when it's done well. So Bergamot 22 is one of my favorite fragrances. Another video to check out if you're interested in what my favorite fragrances are is my top favorite fragrances. I do that video every single year. So check out that video and you'll see what I mean. I've got, some fragrances that have nothing to do with bergamot or cedar in them, and I love them. So the 2 aren't mutually exclusive is what I'm trying to say. Next question. Hey Cody, what are the best celebrity scents in your opinion? It's a really broad question. There's a lot of good celebrity scents out there. Michael Jordan's Legend is a good one. I don't know. I don't really classify celebrity scents. If you had asked about a particular fragrance, then I'd be able to give a better response for it. But, I mean, I don't really put them in their own category, if that makes sense, and then say, oh, these are by this celebrity scent. I really look at the fragrances as a whole, regardless of where they come from. Alright, next question. Who are your favorite noses and houses? Interesting. I don't have any favorite noses. I do not have any favorite noses. And my philosophy behind that is I really think that, everyone has their own personalized nose and taste, and it's all relevant. So I really view everyone's nose as relevant to me, and I respect everyone's opinion in that. I know that sounds really Boy Scoutish, but that's really how I view fragrances. I don't hold anyone above. Yeah. And now that said, there are certain people who I would say who have tastes a little bit more similar to mine that I might say, okay, if he or she is recommending this fragrance, I might be interested in giving it a try. Stuff like that. But nothing jumps out for it. And the second part of the question was houses. Oh, favorite houses. This is a good one. Favorite houses, I like Chanel, I like Guerlain, I like Le Labo, but gun to my head, I would probably say Chanel. Oh, there's another designer house that I'm really forgetting here. Man, why am I drawing a blank on this? It's Chanel and Dior. There we go. How could I forget them? House of Dior is another good one. House of Creed I actually love, and I love Tom Ford. So, yeah, Creed, Tom Ford, Guerlain, Chanel, Dior. This is a really good houses, and I probably say put those at the top of my list. Okay, next question. One more. How do you mix fragrances, sprays such as Tom Ford? Thanks. Well, there's a couple ways that you can go through and mix fragrances. The easiest way to mix a fragrance, at least the way I do it, is to layer them on your skin. So I'll spray usually the heavier scent first and then the lighter scent second, and that usually creates a good mix. So I'll just go 1 1 and then take the lighter scent 1 1 and go from there. That's usually how I mix fragrances. I don't mix them, pre-mix them in the bottle or anything like that. That said, I actually don't mix fragrances most of the time. Like if I was to, I wear fragrances almost every single day of the year, and there's probably maybe 5 days that I mix fragrances. Go figure. I'm not really a big fan of mixing fragrances. Next question. When and why did you get into collecting fragrances? Alright, well, I've answered that question a couple times, but I mean, just to do the short story, I got into collecting fragrances because I wanted to do something a little bit different. then I wanted a different hobby rather than playing basketball, football, soccer, or whatever the case may be. I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I also wanted to get better at speaking. So the way I started out was recording my fragrance reviews and everything like that, and kind of going from there. And it just kind of ballooned and blossomed into a hobby a little bit more than that. All right, next. Do you concern yourself with the types of soups you used? Most seem to have been fragrances that could potentially affects you. A cologne smells... What? Oh, soaps! Okay, gotcha. Oh, he meant soaps. Do you concern yourself with the types of soaps that you used? Most seem to have a fragrance that could potentially affect the way a cologne smells on your skin. Yes, I've actually answered that question in my How to Apply Fragrances video. But the short answer is yes, I do. I actually use a non-scented soap or soaps when I, take a shower and go and do my business, basically. Next question. Victor and Rolf Spice Bomb out of 10. What? Oh, what is it out of 10? I've got a video for that. Check the video. Next question. Whatever happened to the fragrance reviewer directory video? Very good question. So, the initial way that I was thinking about it, a long story short, it's delayed. And it's delayed because I want to find the best way to actually implement it. I was originally planning on having a directory, and I would basically go through and put a little screenshot of the reviewer and then give my own short little blurb for it. And then you can kind of click around through the video to see, information on different reviewers. But the problem with that is A, you can't really update it really well. B, it takes a lot of freaking work to do. I mean, I had just started, on with the concept, and I was like, hold on a second. It was taking me a ridiculous amount of time to go through and do it. And couple this with how many reviewers there were, it's the amount of actual reviewers out there is actually pretty astronomical, even if you only consider reviewers who have reviewed something in the past year. It's crazy. And so I basically wanted to find a way to do it that makes it easy to update, so that as new reviewers come, I can go through, update it real quick. B, doesn't soak up as much. Even if it soaks up a bunch of my time in the beginning, I still won't be that against it. I won't like it, but if it's easy to update, it's something I'll bite the bullet and do it. But I want something that is preferably easy to kind of create and maintain. And then that's pretty much it. So if it's still coming, I just need to figure out a better way of actually doing it, as the short answer. Or as the longer answer, sorry. Next, what's the meaning behind... Oh, wait, no. Sorry, skipped one. Why is it in your eyes... Oh, why is it in your eyes worth it to spend thousands of dollars on fragrances? It's because it's just my hobby. At this point, I'm actually not spending a lot of money on fragrances. The most I'll spend on fragrances a month now is, maybe 50, 100. I actually haven't bought a lot of new fragrances. One thing that I really wanted to touch on, and I was going to actually touch upon this in another fragrance episode upcoming. Actually, I'll write that down. But one thing that I wanted to touch upon was I wanted to start reviewing fragrances, because one thing reviewing fragrances that I wouldn't necessarily buy. Because one thing that I noticed a lot in all of our fragrances among all over the place is that they're mostly done by people who have bought the fragrance and then review it. Well, most people aren't going to waste their money on a fragrance that they don't like. Therefore, most of the reviews that you see are positively skewed. And I want to kind of get away from that. And by doing that, I don't need to buy a lot more fragrances. I just need to get the samples of them. And that's pretty much what I'm going about doing. Right? So, I'm not sure if that actually answers your question. But why is it? Why is it? I mean, it's a hobby. Everyone spends their money on different things. This happens to be fragrances for me. All right? Next one. What's the meaning behind your name, Dracdoc? It actually has nothing to do. The original meaning behind Dracdoc is I used to go by the call sign, Drac, in a lot of online games that I played, and DOC was the clan, or the guild, Dominion of Chaos. And so it was Drac/Doc, so -Doc, so Dracdoc. And then I just ran the two together and started using it for my username, and I basically used it for my call sign for YouTube way back in the day when I still, had it. And it went from there. That's pretty much it. Next. What do you think is the most overrated or overhyped fragrance you have smelled? None. I don't consider fragrances overrated or overhyped. That's just me. It's either I like it or I don't. I really don't care that much about how people are hyping up a fragrance or exalting it or tearing it down. If I like it, I like it. If I don't like it, I don't like it. That's pretty much it. Next, Chanel Egoiste. Please, what? I'm not even sure what that means. It just says Chanel Egoiste. Please, man, come on. All right. Next question. Fragrance recommendations for social ballroom dancing. Easy. They would be the same fragrances I recommend for upscale occasions, and I've done a video on that. Look for that video. The next one. Hello, have you ever tried... Oh, I'm going to butcher this pronunciation. Bourgeois, masculine, Équateur, eau de toilette. Cheap and pretty good fresh scent. Nope, have never tried it. Next question. Some fragrances smells delicious. If fragrances are drinkable, which fragrances would you like to drink? None. I just don't work that way. There are a lot of fragrances that smell delicious. You're absolutely right, but I've never thought about drinking them, and yeah, sorry. Next. You did your fragrance storage video quite some time ago. Since then, did you learn anything new that you can pass along? Have you had any experience with fragrances going bad, even with the proper storage suggestions from the video? Very interesting question. That question, I'm sorry, I'm not going to answer in this video just because it's going to take me a long time to answer. The short answer to that is yes. I have noticed one difference. The vast majority of that video, actually all of the video is still correct, but there is one addendum that I would add, and it's actually a pretty long addendum. But either way, yeah, that would be the answer for that one. Next question. Hey Doc, do you earn money from ads that are in the beginning of your videos? Yes, I do. That actually, the ad revenue now that I get in is actually a pretty big reason why I still stick around. There are times when it gets pretty tedious to be going through and doing reviews. It's when I tell people that it's a lot of work to actually do reviews, a lot of people, the only people who truly understand, who I feel truly understand, are other reviewers that have to go through and realize just how much sometimes of a pain it is and how much of a grind it is. If I wasn't getting paid to actually do this, I would, A, I may not be here doing reviews, and B, I would certainly wouldn't be doing them at the clip or at the rate that I do them. I do a review and have been doing reviews for the past, I think, 3-4 years now at about a video every 2 days. It's a lot of freaking work, basically, and it's work that I do, you know, I figure out a way with time, basically. All right? But yeah. Next question. What do you like to what do you like to drink? Alcoholic and non-alcoholic. Alcoholic drinks, I was a heavy rum drinker, or not heavy, but I was a pretty good rum drinker. You know, ever since I've met Becky, I've become a little bit more involved in bourbon, and so I like drinking good bourbon. So I can't stand like the cheap Jim Beam, the Maker's Mark type things, because I didn't realize the difference until we started buying some good bottles of bourbon, and the difference how they actually go down, and the taste is just so much better. It's a smooth drink, and on top of that, woke up, there was no, you know, resemblance of a hangover. I slept like a baby, basically. So good bourbon is another stuff that I like to drink. Non-alcoholic, I've gotten away from a lot of the sweet drinks, so I don't drink Coke and stuff like that anymore. I drink a lot of water, drink tea, peppermint tea, ginger teas are my favorite, and yeah. Next, in your reviews, you always make a comment about the design of the bottle, and you don't like many from what I can recall. What is your favorite 3 bottle designs? Okay, and if you could design one, what would it look like? Alright, so I can't give you an answer on if I design one, what would it look like. I'm a horrible designer. That's best left to the professionals. That said, what are my favorite designs? I think first it would probably be the House of Killian. Killian puts effort into their bottles, and I like it. They're elaborate, they're beautiful, they're just drop dead gorgeous. And Killian would normally buy, you know, the travel spray purchases, but because their bottles look so beautiful, I had to buy one, and I basically just paid $100 extra for the bottle and the bottle design. Yeah. The top 3, I mean, nothing else really stands out as far as bottle design goes. I mean, I like the simplistic design of the Dior's, But, you know, that's pretty much it. Let's see. First, I really value your reviews. Thanks. I've looked through your videos and haven't seen anything on Dracdoc Nero or Kobe. Or Kobe or Kobe. Have you put your nose on either of these? If so, how do they smell and which do you like better? Funny question you ask. Those are actually on my high on my list of smell again, because I think I've smelled both of them, but I just kind of smelled them in passing and didn't really get any time with them. So I have heard a lot about them, and I do want to get my noses on them again. All right. Next, what does Becky think of the original Amen and the dry down of it? Sorry, that's coming for that question. I'm answering for a panty dropper. It's going to be in a panty dropper vid. So, yeah. Next question. Hey Cody, do you have a few women's fragrances that you like on your lady? Also, how do you see the fragrance industry in the next few years? Will costs go up? Will more manufacturers offer more options? Will some niche brands become more mainstream? Will popularity raise? Those are a lot of questions in it. At least for fragrance in general. At this point, I don't really have a lot of women's fragrances that I like on my lady. To be perfectly honest, I know this sounds strange, but I actually like her natural smell. It's not BO, even though I keep insisting to her that it's not BO. But she has a natural smell that kind of comes from, you know, the shampoo that she uses. I couldn't tell you what it is. I did give her Archive 69, which I think smells okay, and she likes it, so she wears that. But she also wears like this oil. I think I don't want to say it's a jasmine oil, but it's an oil that she got in the markets of Calcutta, and she recently went back, wasn't able to find it, so she's got a small jar of it. She actually smells pretty good when wearing that too. I mean, that's pretty much it. Your second part of your question is a lot more involved. Where do I see the fragrance industry in the next few years? That's a topic for another video completely. Just too much to actually put in it. Next question. What's your most expensive accident? Any drop broken bottles? Nope. I don't drop my bottles. Sorry. Knock on wood. But yeah, I do not drop my bottles. I'm pretty careful with them. Next question. Were you born in the US? Where did you grow up? Yes, I was born in the United States. I was born in Lansing, Michigan. And I grew up in many different places. This is actually a question that I've answered before on my previous ones. But I grew up in Arizona, Chicago, New York, Malawi, Seoul, Korea, Jamaica. Where else? Those are the main places. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, and how did Becky and I meet? That's actually going to be a little bit of a longer story. So for that, I apologize, but I'm going to answer that, and that will be answered in a later video. I promise you that. It's just a little bit too long and involved for me to answer right now. All right? Next. Which writers or bloggers do you read or follow? I'm assuming you mean for fragrance. For fragrance, nobody. I don't follow fragrance bloggers, at least, or writers for that matter. Yeah. If you didn't mean fragrance, you know, feel free. It's James Barrett who posted that, and I've seen your comments before. If you didn't mean it, feel free to, you know, IM me, and I'll feel free to tell you what writers or bloggers. But I mean, yeah. What are your thoughts on Voyage Hermes? I'll wait for the review for it. It's coming out. Next one. So you're a Sagittarius, son. What's Becky's zodiac sign? Becky is a Pisces. She Pisces? Yeah, February. She's a Pisces. Hold on a second. I'm not expecting. Let's see. Let's see. Apparently I've looked this up before. No, Aquarius. That's why I thought fish. Yes, she is an Aquarius. Yeah, she's Aquarius. Next question. Your favorite 3 fresh designers? Man, some of these questions I've, you know, kind of answered already. I mean, favorite 3 fresh designers. One would be Bergamot 22. I'm not sure. Take a look at my top favorite fragrances video. I know Bergamot 22 is definitely the first one. I'm not sure. Oh, Chanel Edition Blanche is the next one. Yeah, I'll give you with those two. I'll leave you with those two. Next, where is your next vacation destination and scent of vacation? Can't tell you the scent. I usually decide that right before I leave. Next vacation spot, I mean, we've got a lot of vacations coming up. We're going to, or Becky and I mean, we're going to Milwaukee for one, Florida for the next one. We'll probably be over in Orlando for a bit. Austin, Texas for New Year's, then Jamaica in the middle of January. Those are our immediate future ones. But our next, I guess you could say, real vacation with not anything else planned. I think it was going to be Morocco. I have to get back to you all with Becky on that one. She had a place in mind that we were going to buy. We still haven't purchased tickets for it yet, but yeah. Next, approximately how much money have you spent on fragrances? And oh, sorry, I should give a little context back on. Becky's actually picking the next vacation spot because I picked the last one, which was Italy, northern Italy for that matter. So that's why I actually don't know where we're going next, even though she told me. Anyways, approximately how much money have you spent on fragrances? Man, well over $2,000. No, way more than that. Sorry. Wow, I'd say over 10,000 actually. Yeah, over 10,000. Next, how long does a bottle last, considering it's the only fragrance you use daily? Considering it's the only fragrance you use daily, it's 100 milliliters, and you don't have to spray it multiple times a day. Okay. Oh, I see what your question is. Sorry. His question is, how long does a bottle last, considering it's the only fragrance that you use daily, it's 100 milliliters, and you don't have to spray it, and you don't really have to spray it multiple times a day. I actually did a calculation of how much it is, and I did it before, but I don't have it for this video because I didn't pre-look at all these questions. So I will be IMing that answer later. Yeah. Next, in terms of clothing stores, Versace, Gucci, Chanel, etc. are high-end designers and are the highest price range like niche fragrances. Why do you think they do not do the same for their cologne? What? Oh, okay, I see what you mean. For their cologne perfumes. Well, that's simple. So the reason they don't price their fragrances, or some of their fragrances, up that high are for two reasons. One, they want to reach more of the market. So you have to understand, to a regular person, $60, $70 is a lot of money for a fragrance. And I say that because a lot of fragrance, enthusiasts like me, also don't think that $60 or $50 to $80 is that much for a fragrance. It's a standard designer price, but it's not that much. People who are not into fragrances are like, whoa, they're balking at that price range. So basically, I think that price range is the normal accepted area that you could pull in people to purchase fragrances without alienating them. Some of those places or some of those houses that you mentioned do have higher end lines, and those lines don't pull in nearly as much revenue. They're more exclusive and they provide a little niche, but they're not heavy money makers like most designer fragrances are. Yeah. Next. Sorry, so many questions here, and I apologize, but this was going to be a long video. All right. What is the most expensive fragrance that you bought? Oh yeah, it'd probably be one of the Creeds, one of the two massive $600–700 ones, and those Spice and Wood and Jardin Amalfi. Next, if you buy a decant glass bottle from a Creed flacon and properly stored, how long will it last? Compared to a bottle, compared to a bottle you bought directly from the store. I mean, fragrances don't like being exposed to air. We understand the question. Yes, I understand the question. No, I can't answer your question because there are way too many factors that come into play here. A little bit more information, take a look at my how to store fragrances video. There's just way too many factors involved in that. Not even counting all of the factors that you have to take into play from, where you're buying it doesn't really tell you much from it. All right. Let's see, Doc, could you do a top 10 list of designer fragrances that scored highest in your Times Square surveys? Okay, that's a good idea. It's not a question that I answer now, but next one. Next one, Le Male or 1 million? Easy, Le Male. Next question, favorite fast food place? Hey, I stopped eating fast food just because, again, the healthy issue. But back when I used to eat, I would probably say Wendy's. Yeah. Next, I just want to ask if you have tried Arid by Parfums de Marly. Yes, I have tried Arid. It's a great scent. It's my signature scent and the best fragrance that I have ever encountered. Also, I want more Panty Droppers episodes, which are so much more fun. Okay, cool. Yeah, but to answer his question, yes, I have tried Arid by Parfums de Marly, and yes, I think it is a great scent. Next question. Ever tried something you liked but couldn't justify the high price? Yes, I have. Ooh, that's a good question. Yes, I have. I do a yearly wrestle with this, and it's from the House of Le Labo. Poivre 23 is a scent that, oh man, I love that scent. But the price, man, it's just, it's killer. It's Poivre 23 for me. Next question. Have you ever considered composing fragrances like kerosene? Yes, I have considered, and no, I won't, unfortunately. I'm just not that creative. Next question. Tell me why designer fragrances is making so much EDP for women, men, when I want EDP, I must buy some niche. For men in designer, I find a little bit of EDT and very rare EDP. And are girls more important customers in designer fragrances? Thanks, Doc. I couldn't tell you why they're now starting to make so much, or why there are more EDP for women. Oh, actually, yeah, I can. Sorry. I read that question wrong and interpreted it wrong in my head. Well, there are more EDP for women because generally in the past, EDP has been the stronger concentration, and it has been marketed as the stronger concentration for men. Men, it's kind of been like an aftershave-ish type thing that you kind of toss on that you smell good, but a heavy smelling scented man in the past hasn't been a thing, basically. That's been more for women, and it's been marketed that way. And so it's just recently, within, I guess I'd say, the most recent decade, or whatever the case may be, that it's been more acceptable for men to wear fragrances, and that's why I'm here. Alright, next. What do you do for work? I am a product manager. I'm a product manager, basically. Next question. Favorite sport and team? My favorite sport is basketball. My favorite team are the Knicks. Next question. I am 20 years old, expanding my fragrance collection, but I struggle to pinpoint and identify notes. Will my sense of smell mature with time? As long as you keep smelling fragrances, then yes, it will. Outside of Secretion Magnifique, which smelling like a turd wrapped in a burnt hair, what are the worst 5 fragrances you ever encountered? I've got a video on that, or a similar video on that one. Next, please do a review on White Rider Rush by Bath & Body Works. Alright, not really a question. Next, I enjoy your videos. Have a great day. Not really a question again. Next question. Why do you rub thy nose so much? Oh, fair question. I actually don't know why I rub my nose so much. For some reason, when recording videos, especially when I'm going through and reciting, stuff, I think it's psychosomatic. I don't know why the hell I do it, because I generally don't have an itchy nose. And it only starts happening when I start looking at a camera and recording videos. So I couldn't tell you why. Cats or dogs? Next question is dogs, hands down. Next, what do you dress like going to work? It ranges. Sometimes I wear suits. Sometimes I wear, slacks and good dress shirt with a tie. Other times I'm completely casual in jeans and like a sweater or a dress like this. Let's see. Hi, I have a question for the Ask Dracdoc video. How do you decide the size of the bottle to buy? Okay. I've noticed you don't always have the 3.4. So what is your criteria deciding which fragrance you're buying? So initially I liked to buy the 3.4 because it was more bang for the buck. But as I started collecting more and more fragrances, I realized, holy crap, I'm not going to be able to finish all the fragrances that I have. I'm way above what I need. There's no reason for me to spend extra money to buy 3.4. So I would go through and basically purchase the smallest size that I could possibly purchase, knowing that there's no way that I'm going to be able to finish it, given how many fragrances that I like and how many fragrances that I wear. Doc, the size matters, of course, the bottle. Nah, doesn't matter. Let's see. To this day, what is your favorite Creed scent? Just thought I'd ask. Oh, Creed Frags asked that question. My favorite Creed scent would probably be... Actually, it's probably Millésime Imperial. Yeah. MI is probably my favorite. Only one fragrance to wear for the rest of your life. Which one? Good question. Probably Chambre Noir at this point. Have you ever been... Next question. Have you ever been sent home from work because of the cologne you were wearing? If so, what fragrance? Nope, never. Let's see. Next question. Nope, let's skip over that one. Oh, White Spirit Bear. Am I your favorite YouTube fragrance reviewer? Don't answer that, as I already know I'm not. I hope I made... Alright. Yes, you are my favorite YouTube reviewer. Let's see. Next question. Really liked your videos. What is the closest fragrance to Ralph Lauren Romance Silver? Sorry. Haven't really smelled that one. Okay, next question. Okay, I asked and went internal last time. I'll keep it fragrance related this time. One discontinued fragrance you don't own, but if it was a regular retail, you would own. Oh, that's a really good question. That was by Joe Anthony. Wow. Shit. That's actually a really good question. It might be Moss Breeches. Or Mars Breeches by Tom Ford. Yeah. Next. Yo, I need a review on Zetano Florentine. Okay, no. Alright. Yeah, let's see. And one last section. Let's go here. Okay, sorry. Just clicking around here. And... Alright. Oh, okay. Oh. Looks like I gotta answer this one in time. What do you think on the Ferguson trial? Oh, the Ferguson trial. Wow, that's a long question. I don't really want to get into that. I really don't have any judgment for it. Basically because it's something that I've kind of vaguely followed, but I haven't really, dived into, so I can't really pass any judgment on it. At some other time, I may, look into a little bit more, but even so, I could tell that would probably be a much longer response. Yeah. Next question, and this looks like it's the last question. What are your pet peeves? Whew, man, that's another question for a completely different video, actually. Yeah, I'll leave that for another video. All right. So either way, let me know what your thoughts are. That's pretty much it for this video. All right. Thank you. Take care of yourselves and have a great day.